one of my investment strategies is to invest with billionaires, or to find billionaires and put my money where they put their money. Why do I do this? I do this simply because the reason that these people are billionaires are because they put their money in places where most people don't. And so CureVac is one of these companies. And one of the key reasons that drew me to CureVac is that there is a holding company called Hop Biotech Holding, which is a majority shareholder with 31% holdings in CureVac. And if you look into this a little deeper, you will discover that Hop Holding Company is actually owned by Dietmar Hopp and family. And you can see right here that Dietmar Hopp has a net worth of 5.1 billion. And so Dietmar Hopp's background is that he used to be a software engineer at IBM, and he left IBM with I think 4 other of his employees to set up SAP. And again, you can see up on your screen now that SAP has been floated on the German stock exchange, and it's currently trading at 180 euros. And so this is how he's made the vast majority of his money. And again, it's one of these things of looking at individuals with proven track records, with experience of building businesses in the past, with experience of floating companies in the past, and also evaluating things like, with this net worth, with this money, what access to what people does he have? People of this stature, they have access and leverage to relationships, to individuals. I talk about this quite a lot because these are metrics that I look for. These are metrics that you can't find when you're studying the accounting or the revenue of a company. So with that in mind, when you look on Market Screener, you can see up on your screen now, the top shareholder of CureVac is Hop Biotech Holding, right? They hold 31%. You also have the German government. You also have GlaxoSmithKline. Now, GlaxoSmithKline are a pharmaceutical company in the UK, and they're floated on the stock market, and they have a market cap of 73 billion. As well as GlaxoSmithKline, obviously you can see that Dietmar Hopp also has an individual holding of 4.5%. And then right at the bottom here, you can also see the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So when I'm looking at these kind of things, one of the things that straight away stands out to me is the fact that the German government have a vested interest in the success of this company. And again, it comes back to this thing of when you look at these individuals, these organizations, you have the German government, you have a huge pharmaceutical company, you have Dietmar Hopp, who's worth 5 billion or 6 billion, I can't quite remember, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You're going to start having, the way that I look at this is I started looking at the other individuals, the layers behind this, the individuals that are involved in certain conversations. How can all of these different institutions and organizations leverage their contacts in order to help with the advancement and progress of this company? With the progress of this company comes an increase in the share price. And so these are metrics that most people do not look at, which is kind of one of the reasons why I look at them. And so if you're familiar with some of my other videos around the biotech companies that I look at, you'll be familiar with the fact that I look at the pipeline. And the pipeline is really important because this is an indication of the future development of certain products. So it's an indication of the products that these companies are working on and are likely to launch in the future. Yes, in some cases, not all of these will come to fruition, but it serves as a very good indication of what they're working on, and if you like, the strategy that they're working towards. And what you will see typically, because this has happened to me in the past, and you'll see this in previous videos, is that I always invest in these companies before they get to stage 3, because once they get to stage 3, this happened with a previous investment of mine, it multiplied by 5x. And so when you look at CureVac's pipeline, you can see that they have a number of treatments that they're working on. They have a flu vaccine, which is in partnership with GlaxoSmithKline in the UK, who are highly reputable. So they've got 2 of those. They also have this bird flu or avian flu treatment that they're working on as well. And again, one of the key things to look at with all of this stuff is also to look at what phase these treatments are in, because this will indicate how far along they are, and in turn, how soon they're going to get to building this portfolio of products. And so you can also see that they're working on some cancer vaccines as well. And at the bottom here, you can also see that they're working with, or in partnership with, a number of other reputable organizations. They are working on a gene editing treatment with a company called CRISPR. If you don't know CRISPR, they have a market cap of 4.6 billion. They're currently trading at $55, and you can also see that they're in partnership with Harvard Medical School. And so my point here again is around the metrics. It's looking at the organizations or the companies or the people that they're in partnerships with, which in turn, again, it gives a lot of credibility to this company. You know, big players, big investors, highly reputable companies like CRISPR, for example, like GlaxoSmithKline. And on top of that, partnerships with the German government, with Harvard Medical School, and with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And so I mentioned at the very beginning of this video that this is one to watch. Now, the reason that this is one to watch is for a number of reasons. The first one is it's just like increased by 50% based on this hype around like the situation in the US. I think it was Australia as well with like avian flu or bird flu. The other thing is that some of the financials of the company are kind of quite questionable. You know, when I looked on simply Wall Street and checked some of their metrics, you can see for yourselves that the free cash flow is minus 312 million euros, and the company is unprofitable and not forecast to become profitable for another 3 years. And so for me, like, this is where the opportunity lies, is that the perceived financial instability of the company is something that I'm kind of looking at, and I'm waiting for investors to start realizing and almost panicking about this. And this is where I would potentially plan to make my entry. Now, you know, certain people will just look at these kind of metrics and panic, as I said, because they're just looking at the fundamentals, but they're not peeling back the layers. They're not looking at the partnerships that this organization has. When I talk about partnerships, I mean the fact that they have partnerships with a big bank. They are backed by the German government. They are backed by serious players. They're backed by a billionaire. You know, all of these individuals have a vested interest in the success of this company. All of these individuals have partnerships. They have relationships that they can leverage. You know, this company is not short of cash. It's short of cash in terms of like when you look at the financials, but when you look at the players backing this company behind the scenes, you know, it shows a very, very different picture, in my opinion, of the potential financial leverage that this company actually has. And so my current strategy with this is like, I'm just keeping a very close eye on this stock. I would say that like my price entry is around 0.8 cents to 1.5 euros. And then beyond that, you know, I will just be periodically adding this when the price is right and just holding for the long term. And going back to this pipeline, you know, I will be watching this pipeline, watching them build out this pipeline. And like with a lot of my other investments in biotech, I'm waiting for them to build this out. So once they have 4, 8, 10, 12 treatments in their pipeline and they become a fully fledged recognized pharmaceutical company, you know, I will then consider my next step. Maybe I sell, maybe I hold and I wait for an acquisition. It very much depends on the circumstances and other investment opportunities that I find. And the reason I pay attention to the pipeline is typically, you know, all of these billionaires who have invested in these pharma companies, the likes of Randall Kirk, who I mentioned in a previous video, Patrick Soon-Shiong that I mentioned in a previous video, and Dietmar Hopp. What they're doing is they're building out these respective pipelines in their companies and then waiting until they become fully fledged companies, and they're making an exit at the top when the price is trading at a premium, when the pipeline has been built out and they have developed a fully fledged pharmaceutical company. So I would typically mirror that kind of behavior as well. But look, thanks very much for watching. Have a great day, and I will catch you in the next one. All the best.